Welcome, everybody. My name is Jose Ignacio Castillo Velasquez. I work for the Autonomous University of Mexico City at the Electronics and Telecommunication, and I direct the Advanced Network Laboratory. Well, I deal with advanced networks. When we talk about advanced networks, we are talking about backbone routers, backbone switches, and uh, optical networks in gigabits. It means huge equipments and huge bandwidth. And well, it's a bit or related to internet service provider companies. No, in past I was working for internet service provider companies, and in each country we have companies related to offer internet, the commercial internet. But in this occasion, we will talk about advanced networks. Well, specifically, we will talk about um, the advanced network for Africa. Although in other occasions, we have seen another, we have been studying another advanced networks in the world. Well, please, let's begin. Let's check. Okay, the paper is indicated. We see the management evaluation for advanced networking backbones in Africa under the 2019 topology. And well, good afternoon. Let's check it. Well, advanced networks, as you know, as everybody knows, internet was developed in the 60s, then 70s, and it was completely operational in the 80s. Then in 1995, the control of internet was connected completely not only to the commercial internet, it was opened to the control of the AS, now the autonomous system for each company, for each country. Then people ask it, what will do for working for the internet for the next generation of internet? Then it appeared again the national research and education networks. So it was another cable, another infrastructure as an intention of an internet 2. Then since 1996, we have internet 2 for the United States, for example, the NGN, the gigabit European Advanced Network, then in Canary for Canada, then happen joining all the Asia Pacific countries. And in the case of the subcontinent of Latin America, we have this Latin American Consortium for Advanced Networks. And well, we have the Africa Advanced Networks. The name of the network is Africaconnect. This is the entire project. And we can find some other advanced networks, not only for each country, for regions. And nowadays, all of them are interconnected. The idea is to collaborate in huge projects around the world with researchers from the National Research and Education Networks. Well, also the companies which do research and research centers for each country. If we center specifically in the backbone infrastructure for internet in Africa, the internet 2 for advanced networks, well, this continent began a bit late, the internet 2 connections. It was a project supported by the European Union. So now they are connected to GIANT. They began as an Africaconnect in a project for 10 years after they pushed a second project, Africaconnect 2, for 5 years, since 2015 till 2019. Then, okay, till December 2019, the European Union approved the project for Africaconnect number 3. So European Union invested 30 million euros and Africa countries 7.5 million euros. So what is the idea? To interconnect and now they're interconnected, 800 higher education and research institutions, and due to the high interest of the increase of the usage of internet, the commercial internet in Africa. So it happened that in 2005, the UbuntuNet Alliance networks tried to interconnect South Africa and the East countries. Then in 2006 appeared the Central and West countries interconnecting, and they call it WACRN. And finally, in 2010, the Arabic States Research and Education Networks, the North, the countries in the North. So when we check these three regional advanced networks and we join it together, we find the Africaconnect project or the Africaconnect network. So this is the kind of advanced network that we wish to study. This is very important, for example, for ISP companies, internet service providers companies, to check this infrastructure, to study. And mainly, these companies only have this kind of interest because they have the equipment, they provide this kind of service. Well, we have this backbone interconnection for Internet 2 in Africa. Remember, this is what we call the Africaconnect number 2. It means the infrastructure to develop it and update it from 2015 till 2019. Well, what we try to do? Well, we have two options. We can check the interconnection of real equipment versus the emulation. This is a very expensive infrastructure. We can see, for example, a Cisco 7200 series, a Cisco 12,000, or a Juniper 11,000 series. So the real cost of this infrastructure is $500,000, $1 million, or even till $10,000 for each equipment. So imagine all the backbone infrastructure for all the continental or subcontinental networks and even inside. So what we will have to do in this work is to check only the backbone for the general backbone advanced network. In this case, so due to this is very expensive for expensive infrastructure, we use it the GNS3. Remember, this began as a simulator, but it evolved as an emulator. It means it's very close to real equipment. Well, we used this infrastructure. Now the methodology was okay. We use it. We try to emulate using or including 29 routers as a point of presence for each country, and for the 29 countries in Africa, joining these three networks and having this backbone topology for Africaconnect in version 2. And the idea was to make the emulation for each of the three networks, checking in connectivity and management, and then making the emulation for Africaconnect 2. It means as if it were, as it is, only one network. Well, what do we do? We do the configuration for emulation for each one of the routers. We configured IPv6, OSP, P3, SNMP version 3, those protocols, because they support IPv6. We loaded the real iOS. We also charged virtual machines and also some management tools, Wireshark, for example. Now, in this case, also agents were configured using, for example, the 161, because we use it as an MP. And, well, some results. Everything was connected perfect. But let's see, and this is case how it was connected among the 29 agents, because the 29 countries and each router per country. And we say in this case, if I began to make a request from the South Africa router to the Tunisia, for example, the Tunisia one router, we see the result after the request. Tunisia, the type of the variable, an octet string, and we see at the left above the system name, the OID, the MIB, the request for comment, the corresponding RFC. This is a read-write variable and all the details. In this case, we asked it to the router, hey, how many interfaces do you have? So it was used, the response was 15, the variable was an integer, and all the OID and details, this variable was read-only, for example, no? Was offered by Tunisia. And now we asked it about all the details of these 15 interfaces from South Africa to the Tunisia. So the idea was to take a table, it was a bulk request for this router, and all the details you can see in this for this table. Well, briefly, as a kind of conclusion, the idea was to check if it was possible to emulate with GNS3 a real backbone infrastructure, for example, using, in this case, Africaconnect 2. For the most accurate topology, now, the closer till today, the 2019 and the final topology they have after all the investments. Well, we are making a collection of evidence if GNS3 is capable to do this kind of emulations in order to give it to the development group to make an improvement in characteristics, maybe bandwidth or also in equipments, because till the moment we only found Cisco equipments, backbone equipments. So the idea is they can make an improvement. The idea is to offer these evidences. Well, emulation for connectivity network management was done. All the packets were detected for each protocol for IPv6, we see. In this case, also, we're trying to check which could be a cheap equipment for making these emulations. This emulation spent 99% of the CPU and 94% of memory in 45 minutes. So, because we are considering, since we get up each router and each virtual machine. Now, then the emulation at the end of the moment when we run the emulation, it is spent real time. No, but in the equipment we have to make all the process. So it was all this time, all this spending or the use of resources was due to the equipment limitations. So it's very important for us because this allows us to support strategic updates for Africaconnect, even for this new version of 4 years that we mentioned it, for this Africaconnect 3 project, and even for future. But also, do not forget that this is information important and supported by internet service provider companies. For example, if a specific country could have 10 companies in a specific country providing internet as an internet service provider, the commercial one, maybe only one or only two or maybe three could be offering just advanced internet. It means only 2 or 3 offers the other cable, the other infrastructure, the parallel internet. So, and this is the reason because this is important for us. If there is interest for some other details, please let me know. My data is there, and thank you very much for joining. Have a good day.